all the rebates, up to $8,000 during our Memorial Day super sale. And there's available 1.9% financing. Looking for used? Bennett will pay you a minimum $10,000 for any clunker, junker, or whatever you can drag to our lot towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $10,000. We pay a lot more for good trades. And unlike other dealers, our sales team is non-commissioned. They're paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. You've got to come experience the difference. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
South Jersey's play-by-play home for the Eagles,
touchdown,
Sixers,
it's good,
and Flyers.
Oh, big save by Carter Hart.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Tonight is the night that all of our questions finally are answered. It's almost like when The Rock would show up at WrestleMania and said, finally, The Rock has returned. Well, finally, we are in a situation where the Sixers can win this series. They can finally beat the Celtics. They can finally get Joel Embiid the next round. Well, let's talk about how they can get it done. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on the Power Hour known as Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Top of the hour, pre-game coverage of Sixers-Celtics at 7 p.m. thanks to ESPN Radio. Tom McGinnis on the call at 7:30 p.m. Also this hour in about 17 minutes from now, I'll talk with Kelee Ringo, Eagles draft pick, Georgia, two-time national champion. He is very passionate about a specific cause. This is National Women's Health Awareness Week. It's a long name, easy for me to say. So we'll talk with Kelee about something that he is passionate about coming up in less than 20 minutes. As always, you can join the conversation, 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See, I already see that Jeff from Ocean City has chimed in, so I'll wait for the rest of you to catch up to Jeff in Ocean City. He was 6 o'clock, boom, he was right there with a comment. So we'll get to Jeff in just a bit. But I want to start the show with, first of all, the news that just came out about roughly 30 minutes ago. Shams Charania and The Athletic are reporting that Robert Williams is starting in the game tonight. Now, why is that relevant? Well, it's relevant because you have a situation where this entire postseason run, frankly, this entire season, the Boston Celtics have been constructed around the idea that they wanted to space the floor, that they wanted to get multiple guards on the floor. And so the theory is that a guy like Derek Williams, who, by the way, was all defensive second team in the NBA, a guy who has played well for the most part this year, they wanted him on the floor with Smart, with Tatum, with Brown, and then with Horford. And you guys have heard me say for years on 97.3 ESPN, you look around the league, all the successful teams have multiple ball handlers. And the idea is that White and Smart give you multiple ball handlers. Well, tonight, the Celtics are going a different direction. The Celtics will be starting Robert Williams in place of Derek White. So the first key that I have for this game tonight with this news is, what are the Celtics going to do with White in the starting lineup that they were not able to do with White on the floor? What does Robert Williams bring to the table that Derek White doesn't? Well, it's obviously size. It sounds like the Celtics are concerned that the Sixers are catching them in too many switches, and too often Embiid is getting favorable matchups on smaller players. So it sounds like on the surface to me the Celtics are trying to get bigger, more athletic to at least start the game. Now, the problem with that theory is Robert Williams is about 6'9". So, yeah, he's taller than Grant Williams. He's taller than Derek White. He's taller than Marcus Smart. But he's not 7 foot. So, does he make that much of a difference on the floor against Embiid? Listen, this guy has not even played 20 minutes in the last few games. He's barely getting any run on the floor. So if you're the Celtics, what do you have to lose? Put him out there, see what happens. Listen, Williams is an 8-8 guy. He averages 8 points, 8 rebounds a game. He's not going to go out there and shoot threes and do anything crazy, but he is an energy guy. He is a phenomenal athlete. And we know how important he was to the Celtics championship run last year when they won the Eastern Conference. So to me, my initial reaction to Robert Williams is obviously Boston's trying to get bigger to eliminate the Embiid switches. The other thing I have questions about is this the first night where Boston goes out there and runs a zone? We have not seen them run zone this postseason. We've seen Doc Rivers run zone multiple times for the 76ers this postseason, but we have not seen Boston do that. Opportunity for you to say, hey, let's get some bigger bodies on the court. Let's get some more length and athleticism on the court to deal with what Joel Embiid is bringing to the table. Because the problem is, if you're playing Robert Williams and he is getting more opportunities to guard Embiid, then what does Al Horford do? Mike Gill and I were just talking about this. Where does Al Horford go? Does he guard PJ Tucker? Does he just kind of linger in that like no man's land between the corner and the paint just in case? Does he follow Tobias Harris around? I don't have the right answer for that. Do you alternate possessions down the floor where Williams and Horford picking up an Embiid? Maybe. There's no perfect answer for this, because the problem is with Horford and Williams, the reason why you don't want those guys on the floor together too much is because in the NBA, with teams being able to shoot the ball as well as they do from the outside, Sixers are one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the NBA, for example. Do you believe that Williams and Horford are going to be able to cover the perimeter well enough to negate the Sixers driving to the basket too often? Does the Sixers pick and roll turn into a pick and dive instead of a pick and roll? What I mean by that is James Harden in his Houston days ran a lot of pick and roll plays, as they call it, with Clint Capella. But Capella was immediately going to the basket after that. A lot of times Embiid will set a pick or a screen for Harden, and then he'll go to the foul line or he'll go to the box down below in the paint. He doesn't automatically dive to the basket. It's just kind of a read and react situation. When Embiid sets the screen, he sees who's on him, and he makes a decision from there. If Robert Williams and Al Horford are spending too much time at the top of higher up in the 3-point circle, do the Sixers then turn around and say, all right, let's start diving to the basket, try to catch them flat-footed to get some easy layups? So that's a huge part of this game tonight. Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on 97.3 ESPN, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. You guys tell me your thoughts on Robert Williams inserted into the lineup for Boston. Sixers-Celtics pregame coverage begins at 7 p.m. tonight. Tom McGinnis on the call at 7:30 here on 97.3 ESPN. The other key for tonight's game is, I documented this yesterday, and I want to bring it up again today. It is so obvious, at least obvious to me, that when Boston is not making their threes, you're winning those games. It's a pretty straightforward system. So how do the Sixers limit their ability to make threes tonight. Because some of the threes that were missed in game 5 on Tuesday were not the Sixers always playing great defense. Some of those were just open shots that were completely missed. So if you have a situation where, I mean, how do I say this politely? But you're not going to get Boston missing open shots every night. They're too good of a basketball team. You don't get to the second round of the playoffs and you just happen to be one of the worst 3-point shooting teams of all time. No, something's got to turn for the Celtics. So how do you limit them from getting a lot of threes tonight? Can you limit them? Now you have one less 3-point shooter on the floor tonight with Robert Williams on the floor. So is that the answer? Do the Sixers say, hey, defensively, Embiid, you go follow Robert Williams around? Or do you tell Embiid to stay in the paint and tell Tobias Harris to follow Robert Williams around? Because Al Horford will step out and take threes. So how do you handle the defensive side of the ball with this situation going on? Again, I don't have a right answer explicitly for this. I know what I would do. I know the Celtics are going to pull out every single stop they can tonight. You guys tell me what you think. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Jeff in Ocean City chimes in and says, Josh, I don't think fans of either team can guarantee a win tonight. These games have been unpredictable, and you have to expect the unexpected. Well, I'll tell you what's unexpected tonight. We have not seen Jason Tatum score points in bunches in the first quarter the last 2 games. Is this the game where you finally awake a sleeping monster? Remember, he didn't play well in the Milwaukee series early on, and then he exploded in game 6 or 7. Can the Sixers withstand a burst from Tatum early in the game? That's unexpected. Here's another unexpected question I have for you then, Jeff in Ocean City. If Harden or Embiid gets into foul trouble, do we still have confidence the Sixers can win this game? Again, I'm not saying they can't win the game, but that's unexpected. 609-403-0973. Jeff in Summers Point. By the way, Jeff in Summers Point spells his name differently than Jeff in Ocean City, which is always a good laugh for me. Jeff in Summers Point says, Josh, I think we ripped the hearts out of Boston in game 5. The Sixers should control the game tonight. Celtics will compete, but the Sixers will put them away in the fourth quarter. I think the Sixers can beat Miami, then Embiid dominates Joker in the NBA Finals. Play the Sixers fight song, Josh. Jeff in Summers Point, P.S. I'm having Coors Lights now with a couple of fireballs to get ready for the game. Let's go Sixers. Well, I can always rely on Jeff in Summers Point to give me the itinerary for what he's drinking on game night on 97.3 ESPN. It's a lot of confidence coming from Jeff in Summers Point. I'm not denying that can happen, Jeff. Look, the Miami Heat are a banged up, unhealthy. Excuse me. They're an injured team right now. They're not healthy. You know, they have so many injuries up and down the roster. We don't even know how healthy Jimmy Butler is at this point. They just lost a game last night with a Jalen Brunson who did not play a single second of the game. So, maybe the Heat will be a little run down when you face them in the next round. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not ready to concede the Nuggets are going to be in the NBA Finals. I think they'll win tonight, but they still have to get through whoever wins the Warriors-Lakers series, and that'll be an uphill battle. Look, I think that for the NBA, they would love to see Jokic versus Embiid in the finals because it's great television. The last 2 MVPs, It's the whole who's the best big man in the league. Who would you rather have as your number 2 and your number 3? Would you rather have Harden and Maxey, or would you rather have Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray? Aaron Gordon, is he the X factor in the series? There's a lot of ways that series can be sold. You're right. We'll get to more of your messages a little bit later this hour. Text board is open 609-403-0973, and your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Andrew in Summers Point, I see you messaging in. We'll get all your messages a little bit later in the Power Hour known as Game Night. But coming up next, we'll talk with Eagles 2023 draft pick Kelee Ringo, of course, a member of the 2-time national champions in college football, the Georgia Bulldogs. He joins us next here on 973 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you till 7 o'clock tonight.
Here's what you missed on Keyshawn, J. Will, and
I
Max.
feel like the favorite to win the title right now is Philly, which it's sort of amazing to say given everything that this franchise has gone through over the past several years. But if they can pull off this victory tonight, I think they're in the driver's seat. And the Sixers will then have home court in the NBA Finals against whoever they play.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
For exceptional savings on your next BMW, visit BMW of Atlantic City. Shop our entire lineup of your favorite new BMW models, located in Egg Harbor Township and online at bmwatlanticcity.com.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
Did you know Atlanta County has been recycling for more than 35 years? Recycling is an easy and important activity you can do every day to help the environment. ACUA reminds you to recycle metal cans, glass jars, cardboard, paper, and plastics with the numbers 1, 2, and 5 inside the recycling symbol. To help keep this successful system going, never put plastic bags in your curbside recycling container. And please rinse off food residue. To learn more, visit acua.com or call 609-272-6950.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys.
U.S. price participation may vary. Includes choice of double-stack KBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nuggets, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
At Ocean First Bank, our first thought is you. We put you first in all we do. Community banking for a century. We treat you like your family. Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
Spring into a great rate with our 9-month CD. For a limited time, earn 4.65% APY when you open this CD with at least $10,000 of new money to Ocean First. Don't delay. Visit oceanfirst.com for complete details and to open online.
Whatever you need, whatever you dream, let's make it a reality. Ocean First Bank, putting you first.
Certain rules and restrictions apply. Member FDIC.
I know a lot of you really want the State Farm personal price plan, but what's with the oversharing? Like this message Mateo left.
Jake from State Farm, you should know orange juice commercials make me cry. I feel bad for the oranges.
You don't need to get that personal. The State Farm personal price plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Homeowners trust Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Business owners trust Jenkins, too, for light commercial services. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy. Call Jenkins. One call does it all. For new heating and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing, and drain cleaning services. Call now and learn about rebates through the HVAC Energy Efficiency Program, brought to you by South Jersey Gas. Call 609-641-6262 or visit jenkinsandsons.com.
DQ presents The Sound of Summer Calling. Hey, it's me, Summer. I know you're busy with Beach Days Little League games and all the other fun in the sun, but you gotta get to DQ ASAP Pronto right now. The new Summer Blizzard menu is here, and it brought 5 iconic summer flavors, like new peanut butter puppy chow and s'mores. Oh yeah, it's back. Oh, that's my other line. Everyone is pumped about this new DQ Summer Blizzard menu. I gotta go. See ya, DQ. Get it in the app. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year, which means... Wait. Hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to mattblattkianj.com for more details. That's Matt Blatt Kia.
Yeah. You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. As this is Women's Health Awareness Week. Mother's Day coming up on Sunday. Why don't we talk to someone who knows as well as anyone the importance of being aware for your mom, Kelee Ringo, Eagles draft pick. Of course, tons of Eagle fans are excited to know about Kelee Ringo, and he joins us, him, his mother, and more here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Kelee, I appreciate you making the time. How you doing today?
Thank you. Pretty well. How are you doing?
Good. So before we get into, the other stuff, just talk to the audience for a moment, because most people know you as two-time national champion, Georgia Bulldog, Eagles draft pick. But today you're here to talk about something that's even bigger and more important than all those things.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about how this started for you. Tell us about you and your mom Truly's experience of going through what you did with breast cancer.
Ultimately, throughout this entire process, with my mom facing breast cancer, I would definitely say it's been a huge reality check from me first going to college, as well as me being in college with her continuing to fight her fight, going through adversity with breast cancer. I would say the first thing that had happened mentally for us was that us being in denial of us not really thinking that it could be us or specifically happen to my mother, but we found out soon enough after me being on campus that that wasn't so true. And I feel like that the way that we were able to overcome everything that we faced with breast cancer really showed who we were as people and how we're able to face adversity overall. So I feel like continue to grow as people. Breast cancer definitely helped us do that overall. So
I know for me, as someone whose own family went through going through cancer and everything, it causes a great strain on people. So Kelee, talk about what did it mean for you to be able to go through this process with your mom? Because obviously, you're trying to focus on going to school, you're trying to work on playing football, but this has always got to be in the back of your mind. Tell the audience, the kind of stress it was for you and the relief it was at the end of it.
Man, I would say at the end it was a huge release, man. But while I was going through the entire process, I feel like the best thing that I could do was try to do my part while staying within school, continue to do the things I'm supposed to do on the field as well. I feel like, if I was doing that, I was helping my mom the best way that I could, So, and being that mental person for her as well, of course, knowing what chemo does to you specifically, man. I feel like just continue to be a person my mom could lean on overall, as well as balancing the things that I have to do at college I would say it was a pretty difficult task, but it was definitely for the greater and for the greater of my mother's health as well. So.
And of course, your mom is truly, first of all, we're so happy to hear you're in good health now. What message do you want women to know ahead of Mother's Day about the importance of prioritizing their health? Because at the end of the day, the important part of this is taking care of yourself and making sure that, if something like this does happen, someone can get their annual mammogram.
We as women are mothers, we're nurturers, and we're caregivers, and we put ourselves behind our family. While that's commendable, it's not in our best interest. We have got to be at 100% so that we're able to take care of our family at 100%. I didn't know what I didn't know. I think there's a lot of people that can directly relate to that. I didn't know or understand the importance of breast cancer, and I stand corrected.
What was the one thing you took from this journey that stands out to you more than anything? Like, if someone came to you and said, tell me something that I need to know, my family needs to know, my mom needs to know, then maybe someone's going to see their mother this Sunday and they want to say, hey, Mom, have you gotten your annual mammogram? Have you been checked? What is something that you want people to be able to convey to their mothers?
That breast cancer does not discriminate. It is of utmost importance to get your mammogram yearly. Stay up to date on it. There's a lot that can happen in a year with development. There are different types of breast cancer, none of which are to underestimate. Just put your health first is my message.
We're also being joined by Dr. DeCarla Albright. Dr. Albright, I appreciate you joining us as well. What advice from a doctor's perspective do you want women to know during Women's Health Awareness Week and ahead of Mother's Day here?
So I think the first point is that not most women who have breast cancer don't have a family history. So it's essential to know your family history, but it's also essential to pay attention to any signs and symptoms in your breast, be sort of aware of any changes, and make sure if you are 40 and over that you go and get your mammogram. I recommend annual screening, but I do encourage any woman to speak with their doctor and talk about what's best for them. But if you see something that's unusual, different, you feel something, it's very important to bring that to the attention of your physician right away. Early detection does save lives, and I'd like to really make sure that patients get the appropriate screening so they can prevent having, very difficult types of treatment that can, be difficult to endure and recover from. Like Charlie did, but happy that she's come through it so wonderfully.
Dr. Albright, you mentioned signs and symptoms. I know when my family going through the cancer journey, it was signs and symptoms that didn't exactly make you think it was cancer. So are there any signs and symptoms for women to look out for when it comes to breast cancer that maybe they don't always associate with cancer that they can look out for?
So they can definitely, if they feel anything in their breast, if they feel, a mass or something does not feel usual or normal to them, they definitely should bring that to attention. Some people should look at changes in discoloration on the skin, thickening of the skin, or even an abnormal discharge of the nipple. That is a part of your breast. So I think, anything that just doesn't feel right, different, unusual, it's just really important to get the reassurance and have it checked out.
We're being joined by Kelee Ringo along with his mom, Kelee Ringo, and Dr. DeCarla Albright. Kelee, I want to come back to you for a moment because obviously our audience, they want to hear from you about being a Philadelphia Eagle. And now you have this platform to talk about, what your mom went through when you went through in breast cancer awareness. talk to the audience for a minute. What does it mean to you to not just be drafted into the NFL, but also be drafted to a team that has your former teammates on it, the Philadelphia Eagles?
It's a pretty great feeling, honestly. Of course, sharing this one with a good amount of my former teammates as well that are actually going to be able to, actually my current teammates as well too. And I would say that the Eagles are very welcoming. Overall, of course, with me going through minicamp as well, man, I feel like the sky's the limit for the entire organization as well as myself. I feel like I'm going to definitely fit in very well, and especially with the culture that they have in Philadelphia. So I'm definitely excited for what they have for us.
You've had an incredible journey from being one of the top recruits in the country, going to Georgia, winning national championships, now going to the Philadelphia Eagles, who were just in the Super Bowl last year. If somebody asked you, what is the one thing you have learned from everything you've gone through, from being from high school to college, playing in college, you and your mom's journey to dealing with cancer, and now being drafted in the NFL, what is the one thing you would want people to know from all of your experiences?
Man, that's a great one, actually. I feel like that one of the main things I would want a lot of people to know would be there's other people that have been in a different situation than you have and actually been able to come out successful. And I feel like that no matter what situation you're in, I feel like that anybody can try to figure out a way to be able to come out on top. And I really don't feel like no is an answer for anything that I do. And overall, I feel like with that type of mindset, you're definitely better off in anything that you face in life. So,
love that, absolutely. Before I let you guys go, where can our listeners get more information about the work that you, Kelee, and your mom are doing, as well as getting annual mammograms?
Yes, sir. For more information on this, you can visit genius3dnearme.com.
Don't forget, it's Women's Health Awareness Week, and our guest has been Kelee Ringo, along with his mom, Truly Ringo, and Dr. DeCarla Albright. I appreciate all of you joining me today. Obviously, with Mother's Day right around the corner, this is such an important thing to keep an eye on. We never want to forget about something important like this. So I appreciate you all joining me here on 97.3 ESPN. And Kelee, welcome to the Eagles. There's a lot of Eagle fans who are excited to see you this upcoming season.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Kelee Ringo, Eagles draft pick, joined us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. And I think the interesting thing, we didn't have a lot of time to talk to him about the Eagles, and maybe another point in time we could talk to him about it. But he's got an interesting situation coming to Philadelphia, because when he came out, for those who don't know the full story, when he came out of high school, Kelee was one of the top-rated recruits in all of high school football. And he chose to go to Georgia, and Georgia was one of those schools that just recruited anyone and everyone, and they were trying to get as many great, talented athletes, 5-star, 4-star players. And Georgia became such a powerful and dominant roster in college football that some of the best players on that team didn't always get the maximum or they didn't get the amount of playing time that everyone else did. And Nakobe Dean got a lot more snaps than Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, who are all on the Eagles right now. And Kelee Ringo, he had to earn his way into being the starting corner for Georgia. And there were a lot of questions about him at Georgia about, hey, is Kelee Ringo a good enough cornerback for Georgia to beat a team like Alabama? Because Alabama has become wide receiver right? They have generated so many talented wide receivers, from Amari Cooper to Jerry Jeudy, so many guys over the years. Back years ago, it was Julio Jones. And so every year, Alabama has some talented wide receiver, Devonta Smith, who's on the Eagles now. And the issue in college football was, well, who is going to slow down those receivers? Who is going to handle those receivers? And there's a lot of doubts about Kelee being able to do that. And then Ringo goes out there and helps the Georgia Bulldogs win 2 national championships. And now He's on a team in Philadelphia with a lot of familiarity when it comes to not just his teammates, but to structure. George is a football team that has a lot of structure in terms of how they run the program on the field. And the Eagles are not that different in terms of that type of environment. So you have to think that if Ringo, Jalen Carter, if they're going to survive or do well in the NFL, it's Philadelphia or bust, because Ringo doesn't need to be the starting corner this year. You already have James Bradbury. You have Darius Big Play Slay. You have guys on this team where he can develop, get better, and get prepared for maybe a year or two from now when he is asked to be the starting corner on the outside. Now, I will admit, I don't know if Ringo is a 10, 15-year cornerback in the NFL. The other side of this coin is there's a part of me that wonders, can Ringo be a full-time starting corner in the NFL for his entire career? Here's why I say that. For all of his athleticism, he is not a Sauce Gardner with the Jets. He is not one of these athletic, perfectly built guys to play cornerback. So my question is, he is a very, 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 very gifted athlete. This is a guy who was a state champion in track and field multiple times. So if he's that good of an athlete, if he is that talented and gifted as a 5-star prospect coming out of high school, and maybe he does have some refinement needed for the cornerback position, could we be talking about a guy who makes the transition from playing outside corner to safety like Malcolm Jenkins and Charles Woodson did over the years? I wouldn't be against it. I don't think it's far-fetched to say that a guy who is listed as 6'2", 210 could make that transition. You look at a guy like Malcolm Jenkins, and you realize that Ringo and him are not that different in terms of size. Ringo, he's about 2 inches taller than Malcolm, and he actually weighs a few more pounds more than Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm was a 6 feet 205 guy. Think about that. Malcolm Jenkins is literally physically smaller than Kelee Ringo is. Look at a guy like Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson was 6'1", 210. So an inch shorter, same weight. I don't think it's beyond the idea that Ringo, at maybe halfway through his career, makes the transition to safety, especially considering the Eagles franchise seems to be always in search of a safety ever since Brian Dawkins left. And then they got Malcolm Jenkins for a glorious run that got them to a championship. But since then, it's been challenging, to say the least. Before they got C.J. Gardner-Johnson last year, a lot of people were nervous. And now they brought in a lot of guys that are going to be potential short-term gap fills. But I don't think any of those guys are as physically gifted as Kelee Ringo is. No offense to the draft pick as well, Sidney Brown. No offense to, Evans or any of those guys back there. But they don't have Kelee Ringo's athleticism. So just something to think about moving forward for the Eagles. And, of course, you'll have the entire schedule announced tonight by the NFL. And, of course, Mike Gill and Sports Bash will get into all of that tomorrow afternoon, and we'll recap it as well here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, let's get back to the Sixers. Do the Sixers finish the job? Game 6 tonight versus the Boston Celtics. We'll recap my keys to the game and get your thoughts on the game as well. Text board is open 609 403-0973. And don't forget, you can DM the show. Priority messages coming in thanks to First Bank of Sea Isle.
It's Sixers-Celtics Game 6 tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Brown goes up, Embiid blocked it, Maxey saves it, Joel with an incredible defensive play. Oh, man.
It's Sixers playoff basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. Your play-by-play home for Sixers playoff basketball. Coverage begins at 7 p.m.
Matt Platt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot. Get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan. The all-new Matt Platt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online, mattplattnissan.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or apply. Stop, opt out.
If your monthly cell phone bill is out of control, then listen closely, because you could now instantly save $600 a year or more on your cell phone bill just by switching to Red Pocket Mobile. Text HUGE to 200-300 right now to start saving huge money every month on your cell phone bill. Plans start as low as $10 a month. Yep, I said $10 a month. And with Red Pocket, you're in control of your plan. You keep the same phone and same number with amazing nationwide coverage and no long-term commitments. For nearly 20 years, Red Pocket has been earning 5-star reviews by giving customers choice, flexibility, and huge savings on their cell phone plans. So don't wait. Switching to Red Pocket is fast and easy. Text HUGE to 200-300 right now, and you could save $600 or more every year on your cell phone bill. Text HUGE to 200-300 right now to get an exclusive link for an additional 50% off. Text the word HUGE to 200-300. Text HUGE to 200-300.
Progressive protects more than just your home and car. You could save when you bundle your motorcycles, ATVs, boats, and RVs. Doesn't that sound good? Like the sound of the wind in the trees as your RV sits parked in the forest. Is that the call of the majestic owl? And there's the sound of a tree branch crashing into the roof of your RV. Oh, I guess their nest was in that branch. But you know what does sound good? You're covered with Progressive. So bundle all your vehicles and home in one place and save with the multi-policy discount. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
Summer's around the corner, and Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning is ready to keep you cool. Call Broadlee's to start up your AC with their 55-55 safety check special in May. Or join their family comfort plan today to get priority scheduling, same-day service, and savings on your annual maintenance. Need a new AC system before the heat arrives? Now's the time to act. Schedule a free, no-obligation estimate and ask them how you can save big on energy-efficient upgrades through South Jersey Gas and Atlantic City Electric 0% financing programs with no money down, plus utility rebates of up to $1,500. Tax credits up to $2,600 are available too on select equipment, including heat pumps, ductless mini splits, and air conditioners. Don't wait for your AC system to fail this summer. Call Broadlee's, your local factory-authorized Bryant dealer and your trusted source for generations at 609-390-3907 or visit broadleys.net. Bryant, whatever it takes.
DQ presents The Sound of Summer Calling. Hey, it's me, Summer. I know you're busy with Beach Days Little League games and all the other fun in the sun, but you gotta get to DQ ASAP Pronto right now. The new Summer Blizzard menu is here, and it brought 5 iconic summer flavors, like new peanut butter puppy chow and s'mores. Oh yeah, it's back. Oh, that's my other line. Everyone is pumped about this new DQ Summer Blizzard menu. I gotta go. See ya, DQ. Get it in the app. DQ. Happy tastes good.
Scott for Scott's here. You ever want to grow new grass faster? Kind of like when you press the 2 times playback button on your podcast so you can speed through episodes. Except at Scott's Turf Builder Rapid Grass, you're speeding your way from a thin and damaged lawn to a thicker, stronger one in just weeks. Bit too fast, maybe slow it down. Okay, let's just go back to normal speed.
Get a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Rapid Grass today. It grows grass 2 times faster than seed alone when applied at the new lawn rate, subject to proper care.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Meet Joe A, Joe B, and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, Make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
With GMF financing, qualified buyers excludes Corvette.
At Bennett Chevrolet, we're selling new Chevys at real GM supplier employee prices and not 1 cent more. And you keep all the rebates. Not some. I said you keep all the rebates. Up to $8,000 right now during our Memorial Day super sale. Some dealers think they can imitate Bennett by giving you a discount, but they keep part or all the rebates. Bennett Chevy gives you both the real deal GM supplier employee price plus all the rebates. Up to $8,000 during our Memorial Day super sale. And there's available 1.9% financing. Looking for used? Bennett will pay you a minimum $10,000 for any clunker, junker, or whatever you can drag to our lot towards any pre-owned in stock. That's at least $10,000. We pay a lot more for good trades. And unlike other dealers, our sales team is non-commissioned. They're paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. You've got to come experience the difference. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN at the free mobile app.
It might be brought to you by Jenkins. One call does it all. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy. Call 629-641-6440. Look, this time of year, the weather can't make up its mind. Earlier today, it was beautiful and warm outside. You're probably thinking, do you want to turn on the air conditioner? Do we not? And then tonight, it's going to drop back down to the 50s. And then it's going to rain tomorrow, apparently. And same thing Saturday. It's going to be nice on Sunday. With all this weather fluctuating, you might need to check your system. So for new heat and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, drain cleaning services, leak repairs, just call Jenkins. Don't wait. 609-641-6440 and visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. We'll get to Andrew Summers Point in just a bit, but first over on the DMs. Don't forget you can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. James chimes in and says, hey, Josh, do you think Howie Roseman will try to trade for a Patrick Queen or Buda Baker? Your thoughts? James, I don't know what those teams are looking for those guys. I think that's the problem because CJ Garner-Johnson was not a guy that we knew a lot about his availability before the Eagles actually got him. That was kind of a late game addition kind of deal. AJ Brown, no one really knew he was available until like very shortly before he was actually traded. So the fact that Patrick Queen and Buda Baker's names are out there probably is a sign that Howie Roseman maybe tried and he found out that the asking price for them was too much. That would be my instinctive answer to that. My gut instinct is to say that when Queen and Baker first became available for the media and the public found out that Howie might have already called and found out that the Ravens are either asking for too much or don't want to trade Queen, and the same thing with the Cardinals. So my gut instinct, James, is that I don't know if Howie will try for those guys. They don't have a lot of salary cap space to work with right now. They have to prioritize what's right in front of them. I think if one of those guys gets acquired by the Eagles, it would probably be a lot closer to training camp at the start of the season than any time between now and, 4th of July weekend. The problem with Queen and Baker are very different because Queen, his issue in Baltimore is he's nearing the end of his rookie deal. So he's kind of like what happened with CJ Garner-Johnson, that the Saints didn't want to pick up his deal. And they decided to basically get something for him instead of getting nothing for him, kind of deal. So, Queen is a very interesting character because it feels like everyone from that 2020 draft has question marks over their heads moving forward. The Ravens, in declining his fifth year option. He's in the fourth year of his contract now. They declined his fifth year option. They're basically saying that they're willing to walk away from Queen if it's not at a price that they are willing to give him. He was going to make $12 million plus next year. I believe it was 12.7. And the Ravens said, no, thanks. We don't value with that number. So if he gets traded to the Eagles, the Eagles will take on about $2.2 million of a base salary, but then he can still be a free agent just like CJ Gardner-Johnson. So are the Eagles willing to do that with him? Budda Baker, his availability is for a completely different reason. Budda Baker is available because he has no more guaranteed money left on his contract. That's why he's available. And so for him, with a club option for next year, which Cardinals don't have to pick up, they don't have to give it to him, he has no guaranteed money. So he wants a new contract. He is saying to the Cardinals, hey guys, new contract? You want me to be here? Cardinals are like, nah, we'll hire John Gannon. Baker says, new contract? John Gannon, he's too busy embellishing stories about the Eagles media. So Budda Baker says, I want out. I want to be here. Now, here's the difference, though. Baker is 27 years old. So this will now be, in all actuality, whatever team he goes to, it'll be his third contract. The deal he's on right now is not his rookie deal. He's owed $13 million next year in base salary. His cap hit is around 16 and a half. So, James, my instinctive answer to you is the likelihood of you getting either one of those guys is low. Will Howie maybe make calls and maybe inquire? Of course he will, because he calls and inquires about everybody. Over on the text board, 609-403-0973. Andrew in Summers Point chimes in and says, I'm not worried about Robert Williams tonight. Sixers will get him into foul trouble. That's Andrew in Summers Point. The problem with getting Williams in foul trouble is we don't know for sure what his role is going to be defensively for Boston tonight. Does he become a roamer, a guy, or does he become a guy who follows and beat around? Is he like a linebacker who spies a mobile quarterback, or is he a guy who's part of the larger defensive game plan? Because when you're putting a guy like Robert Williams in a lineup, you're going from a Derek White to a Robert Williams. You're adding about 7 inches in height on the court. So is their plan to be more switchable on defense? So it's less likely that Embiid gets a guy like Marcus Smart guarding him? Is the goal to maybe throw some zones at the Sixers so they're less likely to be able to lock you down? So I don't know if it's as simple as, hey, I'm not worried about Robert Williams. He'll get into foul trouble. I appreciate what you're saying, Andrew in Summers Point, but I don't think it's that simple because I don't know what Boston's game plan is for him. Look, when Jaylen Brown was guarding James Harden before he got into foul trouble, Harden was 0 for 7. Is Robert Williams able to make life difficult for Embiid? If he is, it's going to be a long game, and the Sixers will probably win by 3 or 5 at the end of the game. If Robert Williams does get into foul trouble, Boston probably keeps the game close for part of the night, and then the Sixers pull away later. I think the Sixers win this game tonight. I think the only way Boston wins is, one, Boston has to force the Sixers to start turning the ball over. We know the Sixers' weakness is turnovers. It's their kryptonite. So for Boston, can their defense become viable enough, consistent enough, worthwhile enough to take the Sixers out of what they want to do offensively? Because historically, through this series and throughout this season, Boston's defense has not completely shut down the 76ers. 76ers have shut down themselves. Also, you can't hope that Boston misses wide open threes. You got to be more consistent in guarding the perimeter. Those are the two things I'm watching out for. Pre-game coverage begins coming up next, thanks to ESPN Radio. And then 7:30, Tom McGinnis calls all the action. Sixers-Celtics tonight, 97.3 ESPN FM. I'm Josh Hennig. Thank you for listening to us here on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Don't forget, Mike Gill will recap Sixers-Celtics Game 6 tomorrow, starting at 2 o'clock, right here on 97.3 ESPN. Have a great night.
The NBA playoffs continue on ESPN Radio.
Now the pass goes inside to the dotted line. Wiggins turns, jump hook, yes, and one.
The Warriors return home and survive a must-win Game 5. Now we head back to Los Angeles where they face a must-win once again. Will they survive? Game 6 of the Lakers and Warriors, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. Listen to the NBA playoffs exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.